Hey, what is up, you guys? So we are back here for episode 5 of Severance Season 2, Trojan's Horse. So I'm going to do my little, my 3-minute recap. Hopefully it's about 3 minutes. And then we're going to kick it off, okay?
You got this.
Got it. We kick things off with Mystery Cart Guy casually wheeling a tray of dental torture tools toward the testing floor, the one from Irving's paintings, because nothing good ever happens there. If Mark's wife is down there, we can all assume it's not for a wellness check. Meanwhile, Outie Mark is struggling with reintegration, downing reintegration juice, which I initially thought was breast milk.
Oh, God.
and dodging the fact that his innie just had a full-blown horror movie experience. Devin calls and Mark plays it cool, brushing off the Ortbo disaster as a minor incident where he fell off a rope and got wet. Sure, buddy. Enter Helena Egan, corporate Nepo baby, who barely survived the woods but is being forced back to the severed floor. She's not having it, calling MDR effing animals. But Mr. Drummond insists she's necessary for Cold Harbor. When she arrives, she's greeted by Miss Huang, Lumen's resident child overlord, who Helly immediately clocks with a "Who the F are you?" Valid. Helly gets the bad news. Her Audi volunteered for this, treating the severed floor as an undercover boss experiment. Milchick tries to spin it with some Swedish folktale nonsense, but Mark and Dylan are not buying it. Mark, this smells like horse crap. Dylan, yeah, Swedish horse crap. Love these guys. Meanwhile, Irving is on a cruise, aka definitely not on a cruise. Dylan demands a funeral, which somehow involves a melon carved into Irving's head. During the madness, he finds Irving's secret map to the testing floor behind a hang in there poster. Foreshadowing much? Back at corporate, Milchick gets dragged in his performance review for being too nice and not forcing Mark to finish Cold Harbor. Drummond reminds him that severed employees aren't real people. Cool, super ethical. So Milchick takes it out on Mark. He corners him in the elevator and drops the absolute nuke. Did you tell Helly that you effed her outie in the Ortbo? You texted me about that. I think that was when you were like, I want to punch him in the face.
Yeah, I did. I just couldn't believe it.
Mark looks wrecked. Outside Lumen, Outie Irving gets fired, suspects Lumen knows what his innie was up to, and plot twist finds Burt in a suspicious car. Turns out Burt got canned for an unsanctioned relationship. They realize their innies were in love, but Burt invites Irving to dinner with his husband because this show loves pain. Finally, Mark gets hit with the reintegration vision, walking straight into Lumen's severed floor and seeing Gemma/Miss Casey for the first time. She started to say something about his outie, and bam, cut to black.
I believe it's
Cue
your outie is
screaming.
going to something
Right.
like that. Die.
Which
would effectively kill you. Surprise.
Your outie loves the sound of radar.
Yeah.
Final thoughts. Irving's not on a cruise. Shocking. Dylan's ready to start an office rebellion. Helly is not okay. Burt and Irving's love story is doomed. Mark is one reintegration away from a full collapse. And whatever's on the testing floor, we do not want to find out. Buckle up.
Do we not want to find out? I want to find out. I just want to know.
I mean, if you were really there, you would want to find out.
And Miss Casey/Miss Casey, I want to know if she's okay. I've just been pulling for her. I hope she's okay. Hope she's alive.
I was just glad to see her.
Right, yeah. I forgot about that really kind of weird fashion corporate haircut, though. I'm like, God, I hate that. I think that actress is beautiful. I saw her in Altered Carbon on Netflix.
Yeah.
I want to say, and loved her. I just hate that haircut. I don't like the haircuts in the show. I also hate Mark's haircut. I feel like it's strategic, though. It's like strategically bad and like weirdly corporate and like clean. Well, also, and too perfect.
Aren't they all kind of like older, like from the 80s or whatever?
Right,
with
the well,
it fits with the technology and all that kind of
stuff.
The
technology of Lumen, yes, but in the outside world, I mean, I don't know if I've seen a TV or anything like that. They have normal cell phones, like smartphones, right? So it's not the 80s.
Right. Well, no. I'm not saying it is the 80s. I'm saying his haircut is styled similar to the technology that's down in Lumen.
Yeah. No, I would agree with
that. I wonder if all of their hairstyles are that way. Maybe they're, no, because they come in to work with that hairstyle, so it's not just down there.
Right. It's like,
How did we get on
Did Helena have to get that horrible haircut? I just really don't like her haircut. I don't know. She has great hair. I love the color of her hair. But I think it's all kind of intentional to create like kind of this almost like contrived, sterile, like nobody's ever like out of place per se either.
Right.
Irving has great hair, so I want to give a shout out to him because he has great curly hair that's well taken care of.
That's one of those things that you notice. I literally I only notice their hair like if it's really messed up or if a girl has really nice hair. Otherwise, I'm like I don't notice it. I don't notice their clothes.
Yeah.
I'm in it for the story and that's it.
Yeah. No, I'm just in it for the hair. I don't care about anything else. All I care about is hair. I dream about hair.
Severance, hair watch.
Yeah, Severance hair watch. Just like everybody's like a silhouette with their hair.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, let's get to it. Like that opening scene. So the car guy.
So go ahead.
No, the dentist tools. Yeah, it's weird, right? Like those tools. Did they kind of remind you of what maybe Ragabi was using when she was doing reintegration on Mark? Did you see any similar tools?
Not that I can remember, because those really did look like dental tools. So I'm wondering if they're doing some torture down.
Well, you know
the
what I
testing
thought
floor.
of? Don't in season 1 they go to some room and it has everybody's photos of everybody's smiles, but it's like how they look at the dental office through the whatever they call it when they you're getting that X-ray. It's like almost like the X-rayed version of their teeth, or maybe I'm misremembering it because
those were just photos.
Yeah, they were just photos.
They were just photos of their mouths. Yeah.
But yeah, so maybe the teeth or something. I know teeth are often how bodies are identified when horrible things have happened to them, like for whatever reason. So I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of connection there. I don't know.
It could be. Yeah. That was messed up though, because like the dude, you don't see who he is, and then I'm curious. I couldn't recognize the tone that he was whistling, the tune, I guess.
So
but
I looked up the tune, and it is a song that is about a ship that went missing. So it's an ominous tune.
Of course it is.
Of course.
You've got to pay attention to everything.
Yeah, I looked it up because
that is in this show.
Kind of familiar. And I was like, okay, I can't remember. You'll be able to find it and put it in, but it's by a
I gotta find it.
Musician. Rob edits the videos, guys. So.
Right. But yeah, like I think they're doing some kind of dental torture, or maybe it's a red herring and they're misleading us to where the
maybe it has
dental
something to
stuff
do with
is
cloning. Maybe they need the teeth of the person to clone them.
Could be.
Kind of tying into.
Yeah, I didn't see any removal tools though. Those look like cleaning tools though.
Yeah, they almost looked like. So my sister does pottery, and they kind of looked like the clay pottery tool. So I didn't even think dental until other people were saying it, and I was like, oh, okay. Right. How do we know they're not doing just claymation? You know, maybe they're working on another claymation project.
That would be so ridiculous. You get down to the testing floor, and it's literally they're just like testing different videos and. Like different things to entertain you.
Yeah. Who knows?
Okay, and then we move on to Audi Mark and his reintegration struggles, where we go to his apartment and he's counting some pills, which I guess Ragabi stole and gave him to be able to manage his whatever side effects he's having from reintegration.
Yeah.
And then.
And then he drinks the disgusting liquid that you thought was breast milk.
Right.
To me, it just looks like if you know the brand like Suja or any of those kind of like organic juice brands, they have like.
I was gonna say that sounds too fancy for me.
They'll have like shots of like turmeric and vinegar and a couple other things, and you just take it and it's like an immunity boost. That's what I assumed it was. Right. It's often that like cloudy yellow color that looks really gross.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, it's probably that and nutrients and protein and whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Or it's just straight up medicine.
Yeah. I mean. This is the second time she's done this, though, so I don't know how much she can know about what would help, but...
Right.
Or
but yeah, we're going to call it reintegration juice.
Reintegration juice sounds so gross. Yeah. Perfect.
I'm curious about the phone call that he had with Devin, though, because that's what happens next. And she's obviously asking him about the Ortbo retreat, and he doesn't know anything, but he knows what Lumen told him.
Right.
But he says that he fell off a rope, and then how did he get wet?
If he fell off
That's my question. No. Like, if they told him he fell off a rope and that's why he was wet.
Mm-hmm.
So how did he get wet? He wasn't in the water.
Oh,
or did they not want him to know?
I mean, oh yeah. Huh.
Did they want it, like, were they wet just from the snow?
I guess, yeah. Yeah, I guess that would make sense. He'd still be... I mean, if you've been playing outside all day in the snow, as I often do as an adult, you'll be wet for a while. Like, unless they're going to, like, blow dry you before they send you home, like, which I doubt they're going to do that. So, yeah, I would say that he was probably just, like, lightly damp. I don't know. Yeah,
I guess they didn't want them to know that they were out in the snow, maybe?
Well, I think they knew, right? Because they knew they were doing the orbo, which is outside, but...
Right. But yeah, I'm curious why...
Thing, again, they are like pathological liars at Lumen, I feel like, because some of the lies are just so stupid and unnecessary to me. Like, Irving's on a cruise. I'm like, why? They didn't need to include that information. You don't owe them supposedly. You don't owe them crap. That's
all I heard was a bleep, so it doesn't matter.
They didn't have to make up that lie. That was an unnecessary lie. They could have said he's returned to his outside life. And
think about this. If you're a child in, like, kindergarten, and you're like, what happened to Mr. So-and-so? Instead of being like, well, he retired, they'd be like, oh, he's on a cruise. Like, because then you'd have to explain retiring and all this kind of stuff to him. I'm wondering if I'm still under the impression that they're treating them like children.
Yeah. See, I don't like that. I'm like going to be the parent that's like, listen, this is how
this
babies
is what really
are made.
Happened.
No, yeah, I don't like that weird, like, not explaining stuff, and then when you're 12, you randomly get all this new information sprung out on you, and it's like, what? Your whole existence is gonna lie. I'm not gonna do that. I think that's weird, and I think that's unhelpful. But I mean, yeah, maybe it does show something about how kind of old-fashioned Lumen is in that way, that they're just like, oh, they don't need to know, so we'll just tell a fairy, like the dog that dies and they say went to live on a farm, instead of just saying, hey, you know, Roscoe got old and died. Like, it happens to everybody. They're just like, I don't
know that. I feel like that's why they're telling them things like that, though, is because they're keeping it really, really young, I guess, or whatever the terminology is that I'm looking for.
Yeah. They've been through so much already, though. They've seen the outside world. It's like, why are we still treating them like they're idiots? That's what it feels like to me. It's almost like a constant slap in the face to the innies, but maybe that's just because I have that outside foresight.
Well, I'm sure there's a reason for that, too. Like, they're wanting to keep them subdued and under control and don't want to give them any information and stuff like that. I'm sure those are the reasons for that.
Yeah.
I did have a question about because Ragabi comes in and he's like, oh, hey, I got to go to work. And he hangs up on Devin.
Mark, yeah.
So, And he tells Ragabi that he hasn't remembered anything yet. But,
I don't remember anything new. Which is so disappointing to learn, by the way. I was just like, they keep, like, stop building this up just to bring us down, you know? We didn't get to see what happened to Irving after he reintegrated. I really hope we get to see that. I don't think they're going to show us, but I want to know. The second that he, not reintegrated, but the second that his innie died.
Wait.
Because all we saw is the episode before last, I mean.
Right.
I wanted them to pick up directly from that scene, but they didn't, of course.
Oh, yeah, no, that'll probably come toward the end of the season, because we're only halfway.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that they're going to wake him up later at some point for something, or at least Dylan will.
Right. That's going to be chaos.
On the testing
the second
floor.
that he's like, where am I?
So Mike, I have a question about what he said to Ragabi, what Mark said to Ragabi. So my question is, he says, do you think they're suspicious or something like that, talking about Lumen? And Ragabi goes, it depends on how well you played it. And that makes me wonder, was he outie Mark at the Ortbo? Because just the way she worded that, made me think like he needed to hide what was going on when he was at the Ortbo.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Huh. I don't think so, because he
But then what does that mean? Why would she say that?
I mean, just when, like, he first comes into the office even, you know, and he's still outing Mark, like, with his vitals. Like, are they monitoring that stuff? Because it's like when you've done something bad and you don't want to get caught, you might feel nervous and your heart might be beating up, it might be sweating.
Right.
That's kind of how I'm interpreting it, because that's the only thing that makes sense to me at the moment. But that's it.
But he never came to from innie to outie Mark, I guess, until
the end of
the end of the Ortbo, and that would have probably been on his way out wherever they did that transition from the woods to wherever he was, you know. So
right.
I'm just curious what that statement means, or that Ragabi says, because I feel like that has some meaning to it, to where she's like, it depends on how cool you played it.
Yeah.
So were him and Helena both lying about that?
Yeah, that'd be weird. It's hard to imagine that he would just jump in bed with Helena for just
but because he in his mind he would have been taking advantage of Helly.
Right.
But
I don't
also
feel like Mark would do that.
You think so?
I don't think so. No.
But also, like, if he did, he was playing it at that Ortbo. He was playing it way too well that he was Mark S.
Right.
Because it felt too real.
Yeah. No,
so I think that comment might mean something else, but I just got kind of hung up on that a little bit.
No, that's a good thing to like keep like a note of in our minds.
Oh, going back a little bit real quick, that dude that goes down to the testing floor with the dental stuff, he had a black card.
Yes.
So MDR has blue, O&D has green, and then this dude, whatever he does, testing floor, let's call him testing floor Robert, has a black card.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was interesting that I saw the black card going in. At first I was like, is that dark blue? And like, nope, it's definitely black.
Nope, it's weird. It's weird for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so next we're seeing Helena Egan. She's recovered from her almost drowning, her water torture.
Recovered is I don't think that's accurate, but...
Yeah, she's not recovered because she's pissed and everything, but she's no longer in mortal danger, I guess is what I was trying to say.
Right.
And she's meeting, with Natalie and Mr. Drummond, and she's like, doesn't she say something along the lines of, oh, you can tell my dad that I'm okay, and they're like, oh, we've decided to leave this indiscretion, just to not talk about it, to not share with your father.
Right.
And then they, like you said, they suggest she undergoes an obligement session, which obligement, I feel like I've heard of that in the skincare world, and that means like if you have like a cyst or something, you're basically like blowing it up. You're burning it off.
Yeah. Right. I'm thinking that probably means. You may be close to right. Like it may be like where she has to undergo like some kind of therapy or some kind of brainwashing or something.
Right.
Maybe what
get rid of the trauma. Just let it.
Yeah, it's like maybe it's like a post severance process.
Yeah.
Like if you don't, I'm like adding stuff to the severance world here.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be severed in the moment, maybe the obligement process is that they can remove the memories later.
Yeah.
Because maybe she doesn't want to forget that. I'm completely making that up. I have nothing to base that on, but that just came to me just now.
Yeah.
I do have some thoughts on this scene too. I think I'm going to do this through the whole thing. I have some thoughts on these scenes.
Okay.
So Helly refers to Helly refers to James as father most of the time. Only my father like once or twice, but father typically when she's referring to Drummond, when she's talking to him. And then at the end, Drummond calls him father as well. I'm under the impression that they are related, Drummond and Helena.
Possibly. That would explain why he's in the position that he's in. It seems like they're very much a, like...
He's another Nepo baby.
Yeah, like a nepotism-based company. Yeah.
Right.
He also has a bad haircut.
He's a what?
Also has a bad haircut. He has a bad haircut. It's bad.
I bet you like Natalie's hair, though, don't you?
I do like Natalie's hair, actually. I think it's cute. It's cute. I'm kind
I
of
came across
surprised
her-
though, because with the theme of the show, like I think of her being a black woman and like the history of the way black women's hair has been treated in the corporate world, which probably you don't know anything about. But as someone who does, like I'm actually surprised they don't like force her to wear her hair straight to look more like
Right.
assimilated. She actually has a cute little curly. It's not out and free, but
Right. I
Yeah,
love her
just a
hair. I think it
thought.
looks great.
Mhm.
She is one that I did notice her hair.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, so this is where we learn how Helly truly feels about the Ennies, which is they're effing animals.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think I would say the same thing if somebody
If they
tried,
tried
to
to
drown.
drown you, yeah.
If somebody tried to drown Rob R out of me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's a normal human reaction.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit severe, but probably not for most people, honestly. I mean, she already sees them as not human or fully
Right.
human anyways. So she's like, I'm not going back down there. I'm not dealing with them. And she means even
Yeah.
Helly R. Like she means even her.
Right.
She's
Yeah,
like,
because when they suggest that that James insisted on her doing that, she was very not happy about that. But as Drummond says, the work is important and or mysterious and important.
yeah.
So
helpful,
she
then.
has do what?
I said, so helpful, thanks. Oh, that's right.
Right.
Stupid.
Yeah. So then now she has to go.
Yeah.
And then yeah, she's not happy about it because for some reason, what they said was Mark doesn't want to do the work if Helly's not there, and they need him to work on Cold Harbor. And I think they said he was like 80-something% done.
Yeah. 91% or like 89, something like that, as of Saturday morning or something like that. Really
Yeah.
close.
I want to say it was 83, but
Yeah.
I don't.
It might be
know.
83. Yeah, 'cause she said 79, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Weird.
So yeah, that's gonna be
So-
interesting to find out what Cold Harbor is because we're 99% sure it has something to do with.
I mean, we
Gemma.
know it's a city, right? We're pretty sure it's like a fictional city.
Not necessarily. That was my assumption
Okay.
a long time ago that they're named after cities
Right.
or places, but not necessarily. They're not necessarily related to
Right.
that city.
Right.
So they're called macro data refinement, which I think they are. And if those buckets at the bottom, they have the 4 temperaments in them.
Right.
And that's what the numbers go to. They're like refining them into those little buckets. But I'm not 100% sure what they're actually refining. I think it has something to do with personalities, or it has to be temperaments, really, because
right.
they're wanting to understand like what those temperaments are.
Right.
But yeah, I think it has something to do with the control of the chips that are in people's heads.
Yeah. No. I think that's.
And that's why the public they have the outcry about severance because they're like thinking that didn't they say something about mandatory severance whenever Mark was on that date with Alexa? He was like talking about mandatory severancing, and then Mark was like, "Fucking really?"
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I actually don't
so-
remember, but that's very
Well,
scary.
I think the public is like they know about it, so there's
Yeah, it seems to be
there's
mostly anti-severance. That seems to be the larger majority of the
Right.
people in this world. Yeah.
But obviously something has happened. If you look, according to the Lexington letter, what they're doing seems to affect the outside world. So, yeah, it has. I think it has something to do with the chips that they're putting in people's brains.
No, I would agree.
Yeah.
And just think
So if you-
about Helly's. Let's for a second think about like Helly's life at this moment. Like, succinctly, just Helly R. So she wakes up on a desk. She
Right.
works for a couple months. She develops feelings for Mark. Her and the other Innies develop this mission to get out of Lumen because they don't want to be there. They don't like their existence. They
Right.
figured out the overtime continuum, and she's in front of all these people saying, "Hey, they're torturing us. We're treated like animals. Please help us. It's me, Helly R. Helena's Innie." And then that cuts. The next thing she knows, she's in the water, being drowned.
Yeah.
She's pulled out.
By Irving.
She's pulled out. We don't know how long Helly is awake until then, or if she just sees Irving and so he's like, "I'm sorry," and then snap again, and then she's back at the office, and she walks in, and there's like 13-year-old Miss Swang, just like, "Hello, Helly R."
Yeah.
like
She's
I don't
"Who
know
the
you.
F are
yeah,
you?"
yeah, who the
Right.
F are you? which is understandable. So yeah, she takes her back to Milchick's office where Mark and Dylan and Milchick are waiting. Which again, I'm kind of surprised they're even giving them all this courtesy, but I guess I don't know. I'm so confused by Lumen's motives at times. Like they run hot and cold, but
it's like a lax grade school. They're just like, sometimes they're gonna enforce the rules, and other times they're like, let's see where this goes.
Right. But he essentially explains to Helly that Helena is using her body to do valuable research as an experiment within like within Lumen. Like see how the employees and everything are doing, and of course Helly's like pissed about that.
She's like, she used my body.
Yeah, and then Milchick tries to soothe the situation as always. And he tells that story that you were talking about, the Swedish folklore about the king going undercover to learn more about his people, to be one with his people, whatever. Yeah, sure. And then he says that Kira Egan even did the same thing at the ether factories. And just suggests that Helena was following in Kira's footsteps. It's all for the greater good, you know. No, it's not a violation.
Because the work is important and mysterious.
Yes, exactly. But MDR, nobody buys it. Yeah.
Right. That's when they make their little horse crap and Swedish horse crap.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And then the next scene that we kind of dove into is, I think, them asking for a funeral for Irving and Milchick.
Right.
Being in a moment of kindness, I guess, is like, sure.
Maybe it was just a thing to get them to shut up.
Right. He did say something about, like, well, their compassion level or affection index or whatever for Irving was in the high 60s, so we should do it to, keep them motivated, keep them morale
That
up.
right there goes to tell me that they are monitoring their chips.
Yep. Yeah, monitoring something, obviously.
Yeah. It's like The Sims, where you have those little each bar is like a...
Yeah, you have like your social bar,
your pee bar,
your food, bathroom, yep. Yeah. I frequently think about The Sims and how there's cheats that you can do to fill up those bars, and how often I wish I could just fill up those bars.
Right. Well, actually, I wonder if they're going to get to that point in the show. That'd be kind of cool.
I mean, I would... With things like energy and stuff, yeah, that'd be great. Like not having to sleep. Like if we ever get to a point where humans don't have to sleep, we don't have to eat. I feel like eating is such a pleasure thing, and sleep is too for a lot of people. So I don't know.
Yeah, it shouldn't be, but it is. The food, not the sleeping.
Right, exactly. But it could definitely
that's why I'm in the
for
predicament that I'm in.
Yeah, and it'd make it easier for everybody to be healthy, right, and at a healthy weight, getting all their nutrients. But yeah, I don't know how they do that through refining their chip, but I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know if it'll get that far, but I mean, because you have to have sustenance. But no, I'm talking about like them hacking the chips later and like being able to shut off a certain emotion like fear, and then they can like now they can go skydiving, or they can turn on maybe Lumen can turn off the fear, and now they have an army of fearless soldiers.
Like I would love to skydive if I wasn't terrified of it. I'd turn off fear, anxiety, stress.
I don't want to die.
That would be great, but at the same time,
I do want to die eventually, but not falling from a plane.
Yeah, no, understandable. Miss Huang is a little brat. I hate that she's like, you shouldn't let them have a funeral. It makes them feel like people. Again, obviously she isn't severed and sees herself as like above the innies, which is annoying because she's first of all, she's a child. What are you doing there? I don't know that.
She may not be a child like.
Yeah, I mean, the actress is like 18 or so it's just she looks young.
But I'm saying like the whatever is running her body
might not
maybe
be
like maybe like a grown person who's been alive for 600 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Jumping from body to body, so she may not be a child. But
no, that's true.
Milchick was training her. He was like teaching her something whenever they were in that room. He was like basically like training her. So I don't know what that's all about either.
Yeah, very weird. But they agree to let them have their funeral. They call it like a bereavement ceremony or something like that instead, though, right?
Something like that, yeah.
They do 9 seconds of silence for Irving. I thought that was an interesting number. I don't know if there was significance to that. I'm like, is 9 a scary number or a safe number? I can't remember. That was weird. I think Dylan speaks a little bit, like talks about he wished he had listened to him more or something like that. No, but he says something really cute. He's the most fun, boring person he's ever met. Something like that, doesn't he? Didn't he say something like that? I don't know. It was cute.
Yeah, I think it was something like that where he was like really like just remembering who he was.
Okay. So the funeral itself is weird. There is a watermelon in the shape of Irving's head, and that is just weird for, I'm sorry, like, this is what makes me think these people are almost aliens down here. Like, you, in what culture in the, well, I shouldn't pretend to know everybody's culture, would you want to eat the head, like, something shaped in the head of your loved one that had just passed away? That's weird. Well, I'll have this ear. I'll have this ear. No, that's weird.
Give me the nose.
Yeah, yeah.
They did it for Burt's retirement.
Right. It's still weird.
So I wonder if maybe they see retirement, well, and retirement and the death that he didn't really die, but technically he did in Dylan's eyes. But they see those as the same thing. Right. I think Lumen sees them as the same thing.
Yeah. Right. Okay, after the funeral, Dylan finds that hidden note, right? So it's this.
Yeah, because it's on the back of the hang in there
and
poster.
It was just like you said last episode. Didn't you say you knew that poster was there, so that poster was going to remind him of Irving, and there was actually a secret note hidden for Dylan from Irving that includes directions.
I didn't think it would come this fast, though.
Oh, I thought you said next episode.
I figured it would be later. I didn't think it would be in the next episode.
Okay, gotcha.
I figured it'd take him a minute to come around to it.
Yeah. Okay, then we're moving on to Milchick's performance review, and it's not great. It's actually like my corporate nightmare, like something that literally I would wake up in the middle of the night and be like, it's just
But they were like, it kind of reminds me of Idiocracy, where they're like, you use too many big words.
Right.
Like,
right. And incorrectly placing a paperclip. First of all, I didn't know a paperclip could be backwards. Like, thank God I don't.
Well, it's not. Yeah. He went the wrong direction with it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's confusing to people. They don't know where to start reading in the pack. And like, you start from the beginning. It's not.
That sounds like something Rickon would say.
We're not in Japan. You start with the beginning and scroll forward.
That sounds like something Rickon would say. He's like, I didn't know where to begin reading from.
Right. Exactly. God. So yeah, he gets marks down for those things, and then he's failing to get the MDR team to work effectively overall, and then all the different issues that happened in the last year. Like, first of all,
there's been a lot.
Yeah, it's just a huge. I mean, normally you would think he would be fired for that, but obviously they say something like they see something in Milchick, I think in the performance review, that they want to, like, he's just so motivated, they want to give him a chance, basically. And he basically is told that he needs to be not as kind. And he replies to the innies, and he replies by saying, okay, I'll tighten the leash a bit, right? And then we see him really doing that by being especially cruel at the end of the episode, right? So
when he goes to Mark,
as Mark is leaving for the day, he kind of corners Mark in the elevator because he's leaving 6 minutes early. That is so a real life thing, though, that actually happens. That it just upset me and just like triggered me.
Right. But an elevator is all corners anyway, so.
Right. But he gets up in his face. He gets weirdly close to him, like only appropriate if that's your like sexual partner close to him. In my opinion, no one should ever be that close to you. And he's like, "Did you tell Helly that you effed her in her Audi at the Orbo?" And Mark, I think he's just like, no, I chose not to disclose that information or something like that.
The typical like scared employee response.
Yeah, I mean, he has like I remember like looking at his neck, and he's like trying to get as far away from Milchick as possible without like literally taking a step back. And it's super awkward, and Milchick just has this really like hateful, angry energy out of nowhere. I mean, we know it's not out of nowhere, but for Mark it is.
He overcorrected.
Yes, and yeah, I would agree. He overcorrected, and it was just mean. I can't even see like Cobell doing that. At least if she did it would be in the privacy of her office. Like that's in the elevator. That's a public space still. But yeah, the other big stuff that we definitely need to go over, I guess, is outside of Lumen and Irving's phone call, the Irving and Burt kind of reunion thing.
Because Irving keeps making these phone calls to people, to someone, and Burt has watched him a couple times. And this time Irving decides to go and like talk to him.
Yeah, and we finally know why he's following him, right? Because apparently Irving like showed up on his door one night, right? Irving.
Yeah, he's like, if you show up banging on my door, that was during the overtime contingency.
Right. Like trying to get me to come out. So he's like, we have some kind of connection. Obviously, it's like I think they both realize that they work together at Lumen. But they don't necessarily. They obviously don't recognize each other because they're both their outies.
Right.
And then we learned that Burke was actually fired, which is interesting because he is retired in the show.
Right.
And it was for an unsanctioned relationship.
Right, which we know it was with Irving, unless there was something else going on that we don't know about.
But I'm like, was it that? I'm like, did we ever even see them kiss? I mean, I guess they didn't have to, but I'm like...
Well, Lumen would know, but they did touch hands and they got real close.
Yeah, I remember them seeing the scene of them in the... Yeah. But anyways, Burt ends up inviting Irving over for dinner with his husband, which is... Which would be very weird for any Burt, but I think Outie Burt, I think he's going to be fine. Like...
I think that, I don't know, man. I think that's going to go real bad for either for Irving, who he's going to be like, sorry, I'm with him, I can't be with you, or he's going to tell Fields like, hey, I'm out, I want to go with Irving, or just everything's going to fall apart. So that's going to be real interesting. Or they're all just going to be cool with it. So there's no telling.
Right. Yeah. We'll find out. Yeah, I'm really interested to meet Bert's husband and. See how he feels about all of this. Yeah, I wouldn't be happy with even if it was just their innie's lover. I don't want their lover over at our house for dinner.
Yeah, true that.
Weird. So hopefully we'll see that dinner at least before the end of the season and what happens there.
Yeah, we got 4 or 5 episodes left. I'm not sure if there's going to be 9 or 10 in this season.
Right. But the final scene, we're getting back to Mark and Ragabi, and I think they're in her basement, right? Or his basement.
They're his basement, yeah.
She's living with him while she's playing with his brain.
Right.
And he wants to do another... He's like, he finds her going through Gemma's stuff, and she tells him that it's too risky to do another integration session.
Right.
And I'm kind of wondering what led her to think that. I guess just because she's spacing it out more than she did with PD because of what happened with PD, maybe.
Yeah, I would assume that. But also she may be checking his vitals or something like that.
Right. And then Mark starts to have, I don't know if we want to call it like proper reintegration or reintegration reintegration sickness. And he's
I don't think it's a sickness, but he is seeing reintegration visions.
Yeah, he's like going up his steps out of his basement, and then he's seeing the hallway at Lumen.
Right.
And then he's hearing his wife, Gemma, saying things like, does she say your Audi can parallel park in less than 20 seconds?
That's what I have written here.
Okay, yeah, I see that. I'm like, I can't remember that. I know she said a couple things. That's pretty good, first of all. So he's like, he's kind of like having the vision. So he sees himself walking into the break room and Lumen's separate floor, and then he sees Gemma as Miss Casey. You can tell by the back haircut for the first time, and also just like the blank, completely emotionless stare. She's clearly
she always had.
Yeah, she's clearly 100% refined. And then he's finally kind of like, it's going in and out between him going up the stairs and being there, and then it finally seems to like cut to him being actually his innie. And it says your Audi's going to cuts to black because that's how they like to do us. Right.
Because Lumen loves pain.
Yep. And so does Ben Stiller, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. The things about every episode this season, I feel like, is they can pick up from so many different like storylines. So it's hard to even guess what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't even know where to in the predictions, I'm always wrong. So. Right. But I mean, I guess I could do a prediction like they do on the podcast when they bring in Zach Cherry and he makes some kind of wild, ridiculous statement that doesn't make any sense at all.
Do it.
All right, I'm going to say that they're going to go to a virtual reality video gaming competition just to test their reflexes. And then I'm going to say Dylan is going to be the best at it, and he's going to be chosen to go on a national video game tour.
So does he normally just say Zach Cherry just says positive stuff about his character that's going to happen? It's all about him?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I just chose him. But no, he always He always says some weird stuff. Like a couple episodes ago, he was like, in the next episode, they're going to go to the movies.
Yeah, they're gonna have a picnic in the park. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, he always just says some random
and
silly
surprise,
stuff. And
Helly's pregnant.
yeah. Right.
Yeah, I still think something definitely weird could happen with that.
Yeah, well, we're
we'll
probably
see.
going to find out. That's going to be the cliffhanger at the end of the
Yeah.
series or the
Right.
season.
Maybe she's like, your Audi is going to be a daddy. You know?
That would be interesting, especially for Miss Casey to say.
Yeah.
But or maybe
'cause
Miss
didn't
Casey's
Did
pregnant.
they ever touch on them having kids, or they couldn't have kids? Or
Not
am
that
I
I've
totally
heard.
Making that up?
Something that we didn't cover was that Ragabi told Mark that the ashes that he has of his wife are not hers.
Oh snap! Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
how we missed that.
Yeah. So maybe
But
that
yeah.
wasn't even her in the accident. That was just like a clone, or
Or maybe they just destroyed a car and then put a body in it. Or
right.
did he
He
even?
said it was.
Oh
her.
no, he said
he does.
he
say
said he
it's
identified the
Vermont,
body.
which you would think that means she was intact enough, but that could have not been the original Gemma. Still, you know. So
Yeah, there's no telling.
yeah.
I'm really
We'll
looking
find
forward to
out.
just finding out what Lumen's up to. But then I know I'm going to
too.
be upset because I'm going to be like, I want to go back and watch it for the first time again.
Right. You want to get Severance so you can rewatch Severance and experience it for the first time.
But then when I come back to myself, I won't remember it.
Wait.
I'll have to get reintegrated.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Man. Alrighty. I think we did a decent job. We're at like 45 minutes. So.
Yeah, we did an okay job.
Yeah, we did an
alright.
okay job. We'll get better.
Yeah. Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
we got 4 or 5 more episodes to get better.
Yep. All right.
All right. So thank you guys for watching. We hope that you enjoyed this. It's basically just a recap with some of our thoughts, but we're trying to get it to where we're more we got it more controlled in future episodes.
We're just gonna fully be able to predict every next episode. It's gonna be great.
Right,
You
right.
won't even have to watch the show.
We're gonna go back and study all of them.
Yep. So, as usual, folks, try to enjoy each episode equally. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week, and have a great week.